You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello and welcome to Soul Forge episode 263.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Shawn as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
I'm here with two very important special guests. It's Leah Frost and RJ Renner. How are you guys today?
Good, how are you?
Good, glad to hear it. Now, the acoustics, dear listeners, might be a little bit different because we are in a theater. And why are we here, Leah?
Well, we are here because this is the location where RJ and I are going to mount our very first show. We started a theater company called Let's Put On a Show. And it is going to be mounted here at the Old Lakeway. Some people call it the Tech. Some people call it the Old St. Mary's. But right now we're calling it home for a little while.
Very good, very good. RJ, how long have you been into theater?
Wow. I've pretty much been a theatrical person since I was too young to talk.
Wow.
I first started where I would start corralling all of my cousins when the family came over for dinner. I'd corral them all together and put on costumes and put a show on after dinner. They had no choice.
So one of those.
Yeah, I idolized Alan Alda.
Oh yes,
from MASH. He started that way in his backyard making films.
Is that right?
And he became a director and an actor, as you all know.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of my start. Then got into musical theater, then into drama, and been doing it since I was basically 15, going on 16.
Okay, and you're fairly well known around town?
Yeah, pretty much. Most people know me.
Yeah, and how do you know him?
Well, RJ and I did a production of, I think the first one was Alice in Cuckoo Land for Sault Theatre Workshop. That's where I kind of made my start as well. So I actually started in community theater when I was in high school, actually right here on this very stage.
On this very stage right here?
Yes.
Where we're sitting?
Yep. This was I did my very first production here. So it's kind of gone full circle for me. But RJ and I were in Alice in Cuckoo Land, and I think we just kind of clicked. We really got along well, and we have a lot of similar ideas, and that's why we thought this was a great fit. That's
awesome. And so there hasn't really been a theater company like this in town for quite a while, or?
I think we're like a baby right now. We're a baby company. Mm-hmm. What we're trying to do is involve the community beyond what typically happens in theater. Like people in the community will like buy an ad in the program or something like that nature. Mm-hmm. We're actually trying to get the community completely involved. We have somebody who's supplying our costumes, a local business person, Stephanie's Joy. We have like Sue College that is offering to do hair and makeup. Just all kinds of people that are actually jumping on board. Mom's Kitchen.
Yes.
Not mention that they're doing the food for our shows.
Oh wow, excellent. So it's a real community thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's something that we found that we didn't quite find in other theater companies in the Sioux. Most of the more popular groups, they do musicals, and musicals are great, and I've been a part of a couple of musicals. I am not somebody who can write music. I think I can sing. I sound great in my shower or in my car, but I don't really know if I'm that musical. So I really liked more traditional theater, being on stage, characters and drama, and so that's kind of where my passion lied. And I thought, well, there are a couple of companies in town that do it, and they are good at their own thing, and we're good at our own thing. And we want this outside of the box thinking. We want people to feel like they can come here and be creative, and they can join our company and be that ally for us.
Very good. Mm-hmm. And if somebody wanted to get involved, what would they do?
Basically, the sky's the limit because there's stuff backstage, there's lighting, there's sound, there's designing like pre-show music, there's working with costumes. So I would encourage like any carpenters to come out and maybe help us build some sets and some risers in the future. I mean, the possibilities are endless as far as what could be done.
Even special effects.
Yeah.
We do have some special effects in the show, and I think that they're going to be quite pivotal in our show, and it might be something that will set us apart.
Very good. I'm looking forward to seeing it and hearing more about it. We're just going to play an ad for another podcast here on the ESO Network, and we'll be right back.
I'm Mark McCrae, the author of The Best Saturdays of Our Lives. And if you're not listening to our podcast, then you're missing out on amazing interviews with
Larry Houston,
Tom Tatawanovich,
Keone Young,
Michael Swanigan,
Ned Hastings,
Bill Gollier,
Dan Gilvazan,
Rob Lamb,
and so many others.
Kick back and let Dan Klink and I peel back the curtain on the animation industry.
The Best Saturdays of Our Lives podcast can be found on the ESO Network and all podcasting platforms.
All right, and that was a great promo for another show here. So my question to you is, why are you guys calling it Let's Put On a Show? Where did that name come from?
Do you want us to tell them?
Well, it was kind of an organic thing, I think, is the best way to describe it. When we our first thing was to do a show. Like, that was the first thought. Let's do this. Like, Leah came to me with the script a couple of years ago. And back then I looked at it, thought it was a great script. So we just wanted to do it, like on our own, and just see how it felt to mount something with full total control over what we're doing. And in order to get the rights for the show, you had to have a company name. So it was like, well, what are we doing? Well, one day we said, let's put on a show. And it kind of stuck.
That works.
And for me, it even opens it up for somebody else coming in to want to produce one of their shows in between times of our shows.
Oh, yes.
Which they would say, hey, let's put on a show for whatever reason they have, right?
Yeah.
So, again, another way to involve the community on a different level.
That's a great idea. That's excellent. So what else I need to know here is, how long has this been in the works for?
Well, I think, as RJ said, it's been a couple of years. I had this script in mind a while ago. I was just kind of looking through. My idea was to be a director, and so I kind of went on the internet and looked, and I found this script, and so I ordered it because it looked really interesting for me. And I can be honest, the draw was the name Steve Martin. So because Steve Martin is the author, I thought this is going to be a funny show. So I looked it up. I looked up various things. And I thought, this is awesome. So I ordered the script, and I did present it to another colleague of mine, and RJ's, who unfortunately, he passed away probably, a year and a half ago now, perhaps.
Yeah.
He was going to do this with me because not only did I do my first show on this stage, he was the first love interest I had in a show. So he was a wonderful man, and he is truly missed. But when he passed away and actually got very sick prior to passing away, he just couldn't do it. So RJ was my next logical choice. So then COVID happened, of course, and things were really shut down. And so we really couldn't find a venue. Putting stuff together was very touch and go because of COVID. So we really had limitations there.
Right. And you've mentioned it now, and I was going to ask that next. That Steve Martin name sounds familiar. Can you tell me a little bit more?
Yeah, Steve Martin, he's kind of a known actor somewhere. Maybe
I think I've heard of him.
I think you've
I've
heard
heard
of
the
him.
term iconic, maybe, was one of the words
Maybe.
I heard.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. He was in a lot of pretty decent movies, though.
Yeah, and that
kinda
show,
funny.
that show from New York, Saturday Night Live, I think.
I think he was.
on that.
Was he on that? Yeah, I think he was.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was.
So he's somewhat famous, is what you're saying.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
So he wrote a play,
he did.
and you like the script.
Yeah, it was great. He's actually wrote a couple of scripts, but this is his first comedy. So he did write a musical, and now this is his comedy. And so.
And what about this particular script drew you in?
I think it was the fact that it was modern. It was modern. It was set in a modern time. So I thought, if I'm going to mount this show, I'm going to use more, modern technology. I'm going to use maybe projection. Maybe I'm going to use some special effects. Maybe it's not going to be that difficult to get a costume that was, say, in 1993 versus 1953.
Right, makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So we found that things would be a little more readily available.
That's necessary at this day and age, for sure.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're just starting out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because we're starting with nothing. Like, we don't have, like, I have some personal costumes and stuff over the years, but we don't have like a prop house, a costume house.
Because you're just starting.
Because we're starting. And our whole idea is, if we can eliminate that, having to stockpile a whole bunch of stuff in every show, find local resources, people that want to donate or give a deal, or, we'll give you
And just
70.
keep adding to your repertoire and collection. And
Yeah, well, and like, Leah built these chairs herself. They're not finished yet, but we have cushions to make for them, and there's a special effect with one of the chairs that has to be done.
Oh, yes.
But she gets to keep those.
Very nice.
And all the furniture for the show is going to be returned to the people that loan it to us, so we don't have to stockpile. We don't have to create like overhead for.
You don't need a
for
warehouse.
Exactly.
Because that costs money.
It does.
And since you're just starting out, you probably don't have a lot for this.
That's right. Yeah.
So volunteers are definitely required and necessary.
And appreciated.
Yes.
Definitely
That's the
appreciated.
other word. Yes.
Yeah, and that's where our local business partners come in. They're selling tickets for us. We're sending clientele to their places of business to get tickets, and hopefully they'll walk around their shops or taste their wonderful food, and they will create some business for them as well.
Do we have a complete list of the sponsors or helpers or businesses?
So at this time, we've chosen to go with two main ones, which is Mom's Kitchen. And if you go and see Raj over at Mom's Kitchen, he's just over here at the Tech, right next door, actually. And the food is wonderful. We're always treated very well when we go in there. And also Stephanie's Joy. She's on Queen Street. She's a thrift shop. And she is going to lend us costumes and furniture for our set, which will really, really help cut down our costs.
And this is kind of new. You kind of forgot the Turtle Concepts.
Oh, yes, that's
The
right.
place that I work for, they've offered like set decoration, fake plants, all kinds of whatever. Like, some of our facing on the stage will be donated by them.
Yes,
Oh, right on.
that's right.
And a vehicle to get me back and forth between work and rehearsal and home.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
So he's kind of sponsored me in that way too.
That's excellent. Sounds like it's really coming together.
Yeah.
So the show is called Steve Martin's Meteor Shower.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about the play?
So, Meteor Shower by Steve Martin is about two couples. Mainly, it's about one couple, but there's another couple that comes to try to cause some problems.
Uh-oh.
And it's really about, I think, personally, it's a show about how strong a marriage can actually be, how strong a relationship can actually be in the face of adversity.
And it's funny.
And it's funny.
It's hilarious.
It's, we're giggling constantly,
Yeah.
being on stage, and just some of the blocking, and that's what we call movement on stage. We call it blocking. So as we're doing blocking, we're rolling in the aisles. We're really, this cast is getting to know each other really well and working together really well.
Good.
I think we have the right people in the right roles. And I think, that's just, I hope we're going to get a lot of laughs.
I'm sure we will, because also in regards to our actors, each of them has brought some moments to the show that I don't know if Steve Martin expected would be funny, but they have found some of their own moments within that framework that we were like, okay, this may not have been a laugh line in intention, but this is now, you must do that every show.
Yes.
And those are some of the things that are hardest for us to actually keep a straight face, but we still get to business, but it's a very enjoyable process at this point.
Good. And how many people are in this play?
So there are 4 people. There's 4 cast members, but I can honestly say there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that really has to be done as well. So myself and RJ and my stage manager, Wyatt, and really, anybody that really showed up for this entire process is part of this cast, I feel.
And you still need people?
Absolutely. We can always use somebody for crew behind the stage at show nights. We need ushers, lighting, special effects, sound, anything.
We have some special costume change needs that are very quick.
Yeah.
That we actually need somebody. Well, I think we may actually have somebody. We have a few people that have offered talent, that offered their time to help. So we just have to start assigning people. And at this point, like the ushers, somebody to help people dress backstage in those instances, work the special effects.
Props as well,
Yeah.
making sure the props are in the right place at the right time. So those types of things, making sure that, for instance, wine glasses get filled or the bottle gets
yes.
filled or something along those lines. Even somebody to just calm anxieties, because that's
Yes.
definitely going to be a
for sure.
concern.
Definitely.
So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Okay, so it's Meteor Shower by Steve Martin.
Yes.
Where can we buy tickets?
So, Mom's Kitchen, Stephanie's Joy. You can also contact myself, RJ. Yeah, we're the main ones, and we also offer an online option. So if you see one of our posters around town, you can just scan the QR code, or if you go to our Facebook page, the link is also there.
And the Facebook page is Let's Put On a Show.
That's correct.
And what's the website?
We don't have a particular website right
Okay.
now. We just have a link to a Square website who does our online sales for us.
Okay. And when is the show being held?
So October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd.
Okay, so 3 showings.
Now, so that's a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. The Sunday show actually also includes a possibility of a brunch. So for $15, we're offering a brunch from Mom's Kitchen.
Nice.
Mom's Kitchen will also be open for coffee, tea, alcohol. Beverages will be hopefully available by somebody to be announced later. We're hoping
did
to.
they get their license?
I'm not sure if they did, but we're exploring some options for some alcoholic beverages as well, and light refreshments as well will be available by Mom's Kitchen.
And Mom's Kitchen is in the same building
Yes.
as where we are right
It's right
now.
across the hall, actually.
Right across the hall.
Oh, well,
through
that's
that door.
convenient, isn't it?
That's
very
convenient.
convenient.
That's very
Very
nice.
convenient. And he's got some surprises planned for our patrons.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, okay. So let's put on a show October 21st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yes.
Okay. At the Tech here in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I didn't ask or anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
Again, I'd just like to tell everybody how wonderful our actors are, because we have a range of people who've been on stage before to somebody who has never, ever been in a theater production, that as a cast, they're just killing it.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah. One thing I want to bring up is that this show is for mature audiences. So anybody who, might be a little more sensitive to topics, it may not be the show for them. But
to know.
we do encourage everyone to come out. It's a great date night opportunity and some mature content. So please be advised.
Perfect. That's excellent.
Someone may even wet their pants.
Oh.
I'm not talking on stage, I'm just talking in the audience. I'd be laughing so hard. But you have to bring your own Depends.
Well, that's a ringing endorsement if I've ever heard it. Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for telling me about your show, and we're looking forward to seeing it. And maybe we'll have you guys back after to talk about another show or how it went, or
yes.
something like that.
Absolutely,
Actually,
for sure.
we do have a follow-up show that we've been invited to participate in after our show's done.
That's right.
Excellent.
It's a Christmas concert that's November 23rd at the Central United Church, right downtown.
Okay.
I'm not even sure of the name of the show right now, but it's being put on by Kiwanis.
The Kiwanis.
How could I forget that? It's being put on by the Kiwanis. So we're going to be doing a little skit in that show.
Very good.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And we have a lot of ideas for upcoming shows, and we certainly want to bring out something that maybe nobody's ever seen before in this city.
That's important.
Yeah.
And how many productions per year are you guys planning?
Oh, well, depending.
See how this goes first, I guess?
Let's see how this one goes. But yeah, I'm going to say to start, 2 is probably going to be our limit, and then we're hoping that other people will come in. We are in the works talking with somebody who might be coming in and doing something of their own. So we'll see how it goes.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks again for your time. Listeners, thanks for checking out the Soul Forge podcast. Make sure you check out Let's Put On a Show on Facebook. Take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, the show must go on. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links. And don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
Comedy queen Amy Schumer is making her Broadway debut in Steve Martin's Meteor Shower. Set in a California backyard in 1993, the play examines love, life, marriage, death, the lighter subjects, all with the wacky wit of the one and only Martin. In addition to Schumer, the comedy stars Tony winner Laura Benanti, Emmy winner Keegan-Michael Key, and Tony nominee Jeremy Shamus. There's stargazing, sparring, and of course, a meteor shower. If you're in the mood for marvelous madness, head to the Booth Theater. For tickets and more information, visit Broadway.com.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.